Greetings. I took a trip to Japan a few months ago, and I figured I should probably record a video about it before I forget everything that happened. It was kind of a video game anime type trip, so if you're looking for some kind of deep cultural hot springs and historical places look, that's kind of not here, but if you like the kind of things that I liked or that I grew up with, maybe you'll have some interest. Before I talk about actually being in Japan, I should talk about going to Japan. If you're going to make the trip, which I'm sure you're probably fantasizing about or you've already done it, is you'll hear a lot about getting a Japanese rail pass, which is this thing right here. If you're just staying in one city, don't even think about it, because when I was in Tokyo, for example, you can use it at some stations, but others you can't, so I would have to buy passes for various places. See if I can find a pass I have back here. Here we go. Like this little Gundam one. I kept this one because it looks fancy. So like each different train line will have its own pass that you need to buy, or you can buy something like a Passmo with this little gray thing right here. They're like, I think, Suica cards, Passmo cards, and some other type of cards like Nexia or something like that. You want to buy these little things for each individual station, or you can put a bunch of money on this, and certain stations will take certain cards. It's really confusing, but so if you're just in Japan, if you're just in one city in Japan, I wouldn't bother with a JR Pass. But if you're traveling to a different city, like I was in Tokyo, then I went to Osaka, Osaka and back, then it's good. But if you're not doing that, then don't bother. Because you can use this thing at different train stations in Japan, but it's very selective, so you'll have to plot out your course well in advance to make sure you get from station to station to station. So I'm glad I bought a JR Pass, but if you're just staying in one city, you don't need to do that. I still ended up having to spend a lot of money on transportation anyway, even though I had the pass. Another thing is your passport. Of course, just make sure you fill it out a few months in advance. For me, getting it done was pretty easy. I had all the documents I needed. I just needed to find my old passport number when I was a kid, because I don't have my child passport. So I was kind of panicking about that, but I contacted my mom and she had mine somehow, I guess. So I got my number, filled out my paperwork, got that done, no problem. So another thing, there was something I was looking at it online. Of course, I researched it for years, but for a few months before I went, and they were talking about free Wi-Fi. I think it's some official Japan free Wi-Fi thing. That's complete crap. Complete crap. I couldn't connect at a lot of places, and then sometimes I get the signal, but it'd be really weak, so I can barely browse a web page. You cannot rely on that. Make sure you get a portable Wi-Fi if you're going to go. That's pretty much a must. So another thing I guess I would talk about is learning Japanese. Don't bother. That's my recommendation. If you only have like maybe 2 or 3 months or something before you take the trip, don't bother. You're not going to learn enough to get by. If you have a year or 6 months, or it's just something like way down in the future you're going to go and you really want to be able to speak Japanese, go for it. But personally, I think unless you can speak it semi-fluently by the time you go there, it's not really all that useful. I did use a few programs to try and learn some Japanese. Memrise is one I would recommend. Anki, I think, is another one that's a popular one people talk about a lot. They're pretty much flashcards, like digital flashcards on your phone or on your computer, but a little bit fancier. Memrise, to me, is a lot better than Anki. So I would recommend that. I can't show you what it looks like because it's on my phone and I'm recording to my phone, but it's pretty much, it'll have like, here's the character. They'll show you the character, then I'll have like 4 little options of what that character means. You pick the right option. It's like, yeah, you're correct, and it gives you a score. It kind of gamifies learning a little bit. So that was actually useful for learning some words in the alphabet and whatnot. But the reality is there's a lot of kanji in Japanese. So you'll have like hiragana, kanji, katakana, the different alphabets kind of all mixed together. So I could sort of read some signs, and then there'd be like a kanji there, and it's kind of like, well, I can't figure out what that is. So learning Japanese can be useful, but for me, it was everything I learned, which wasn't much, admittedly, was completely useless. I could read a few signs, and sometimes when people would speak, I'd catch part of the conversation, mostly because I watch a lot of anime. So, that was kind of neat, but it didn't really translate. When I would talk to people, I tried to talk to people in Japanese, they couldn't understand what I was saying. And when people tried to talk to me in Japanese, I couldn't understand what they're saying because it just comes out so fast. I just ended up just going listening for ka, because at the end of a sentence, if someone says ka, they're asking you a question, and say des, they're making a statement or being polite. So I just pretty much kind of listened in for that. That's how I got by. All you need to do is point at things and go, yes, no, maybe, and maybe not maybe, but they understand, yes, no, okay, stuff like that. So, shake your head, nod, just basic stuff. So my recommendation, if you're only going to Japan like very quickly and you don't have time to really learn the language, or you don't really want to learn a second language, just don't bother. Just learn. You don't even need to learn basic phrases. You can just point and say yes, no, and people will understand you. So that's my prep part of this talk. Now let me get to my actual vacation. So, another thing, I would recommend taking your money with you and transferring it into the local currency there. I mean, that may vary depending on what country you're in, but for me, I got a pretty good rate and it was pretty easy. So yeah. So, I wake up in the morning at home, ready to go. So I get to the airport, and there was this lady in security she was really mean. I'm flying out for KC. I've done this flight not this particular flight, but I've flown out there for a few times. I never had someone quite as mean as her. I remember there's this lady, she was in a wheelchair, and then the lady, after she passed through the x-ray machine, the lady made her stand up to search her with the wand, and it's kind of like the lady's in a wheelchair, and at least she didn't seem to be doing anything fishy. I think it may have been her complexion that caused that. But anyway, it was really weird. She was just yelling at people. I remember I was sitting there waiting for the flight to take off, and I could still hear her yelling at people as they were coming through. And it's kind of like, how does someone like that get a job? But anyway, so I fly from Kansas City to Dallas, and from Dallas, I fly to Japan. The flight was probably like 13, 14 hours. The first 4 hours of the flight just went by pretty quickly. I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. Then after that, the time just slowed down. I was like, oh man, it just took forever. I would recommend bringing a pen with you on the flight, because they'll give you your custom form that you have to fill out. This is if you have like tobacco or alcohol, firearms, whatever. You have to fill this one out. But there's another form they'll give you that has your address, what's the reason for your visit, how long you're going to stay there, whatnot. You'll want to fill that out on the plane. You can do it when you get out the airport. They'll give you a copy there, but you can save yourself a little bit of time just filling that out on the plane. So if you're a woman, you probably have a purse, but if you're a dude, just make sure you bring a pen with you so that you have plenty of time to fill that out. So I finally land. At first, I'm following the crowd to get to the immigration to pass through, but I had to stop for some reason. I think I got confused and took a wrong turn or something like that, and I ended up losing the crowd. So then by the time I actually no, that's not what it was. I didn't fill out my paperwork in advance. So by the time I filled out all my paperwork, everyone had already passed through the long line for the immigration and everything. So you go up to the immigration desk, I think it's immigration, and you hand them your paperwork, and they'll have you look into this little screen thing to, I guess, take a picture of your face and your eyes. I think it might take your fingerprints too. That's just, I guess, security purposes. Then they'll give you part of this little slip. I think they take a little slip off your form, stick it on your passport or something like that. Then you just pass on through. Then, poof, you're in Japan. So the first thing I did was I exchanged my money. I took $760 with me. I intended to take $1,000 even, but I forgot to hit up the ATM before I reached the airport and back at my home. So I just had $760. I think it transferred into something like, I don't know, maybe $850 or $815 or something. I had lost a sheet. I gained money from going there. I was kind of surprised at how much. So that was a pleasant thing to do. So I changed my cash there at a booth. It was very easy. I just came in, put some basic information on the form, handed it to a guy. They counted the money, gave me money, and I was done. So then I walk down the stairs and I get my rail pass. There's like an office in the airport pretty close to when you go in there. I don't know if there's like different parts you land or exit at, but where I was, after I passed into the main hall of the airport, it just went down an escalator, and I think I maybe walked down a hall and to like the left or something, there was a Japanese rail pass office. Just went in there, handed them my receipt, they gave me my pass, gave me a ticket for the next train, and I was done. So yeah, I went down to the train. At first I was kind of confused because I'm from a small town, so I don't really take the subways or the buses. So I was like at the railroad track, and I was like, "Well, where do I stand to get on?" And there was like some dude there. He looked, he was white, so I figured he's probably not Japanese. So I went up to and asked him if he spoke English, and he said yes. And so like, is this the right station for this? And he's like, oh yeah, just kind of stand anywhere. So I was like, all right. So got on my plane. I got on the wrong car, but that doesn't really seem to matter. I mean, sometimes they'll have a conductor go through and check people, but it didn't really seem all that relevant. Any of the trains I took, it didn't really seem to matter. So I got on that, and it took me to the Shinjuku station. Then I was kind of confused when I got off, because I was kind of like, where do I go now? Because I knew I needed to I knew what line I had to transfer at, but I didn't know where in the station to transfer. And I was kind of walking up and down, looking at signs, kind of like, where is it? Eventually, I figured out I had to actually go outside and walk, I think like across the street to technically a different station, although they're pretty much, right next to one another. And then I was able to transfer to where I needed to be. And then when I finally got there, got to the right station, got outside, it was nighttime. It was probably like 6:30 or so, and it was raining. So it was starting to get dark, it was raining, and I still wasn't 100% sure on where I needed to be. I had the address, but there aren't street signs in Japan, or at least I didn't really notice street signs, so I wasn't really sure, okay, how do I figure out which building I need to go? Luckily, before I left, I did do a Google map check, so I knew, visually what the buildings looked like. So at first, I walked down the street the wrong way. I said, no, this isn't right. So I turned around and walked down the right way. And then it was pretty quick. It was just, I had to walk past a crossing and then cut left. And then the building was on my right, just a little bit down, right next to a dollar store. So finally, I could get in, I can get relaxed, but my night wasn't quite over because I had booked reservations for the Robot Restaurant, a pretty famous touristy attraction. I had booked it for the very latest show at 12, but like 2 days before I left, the place I booked it with canceled my reservation, and because of some other party had booked the whole thing, they said I can move to a different slot. So unwisely, I decided to go ahead and move to an earlier slot on the same day. And that ended up proving my folly, my downfall, because by the time I was in my new apartment, I dried off, charged my phone, and I was ready to head back out. It was already, I think, 8 or so o'clock, and my reservation was at 9, and I had no idea how to get to the restaurant. So I went back outside, took a wrong train, and I was just like cold, wet, it was dark, and it's like, screw this, I'm going back home. So I went back to the apartment. I stopped first at the dollar store, the Lawson's 100, I think it's called. It's like pretty much a dollar store, convenience store type deal. Got some ramen, got some Coke, and just went up to my apartment, and I kind of, crashed, had something to eat, and crashed for the night. So that was day one. Not too great, but hey, you when you get to a new place, that first day is pretty much lost if you're on vacation, because you might be jet lagged or tired or who knows, whatever. And that, so it's only 8 o'clock, but I don't really feel like walking around in the rain, especially when I don't know where I'm going, so I went ahead and decided to retire. Did the convenience store run, got me a Mets Cola, which I guess is just Coke Zero or Diet Coke. Yeah. My other Japanese beverage, I don't know what that is. It's wait, hold on. What was this? Do de ka mi min po shi ka po ka imeji. Yes, that's energy, energy, whatever. I have no clue what that means. And other beverage, the Pepsi Next Zero. I'm not sure if that's just Pepsi Next or if it's something different. I was trying to look for like crazy normal flavors of soda, but in the convenience store near me, that's all they had. I'm eating some onigiri. I have no idea what flavor that is. When I finish that one, got another mystery flavor. Here's a quick little thing that I thought was kind of weird. I just noticed this. Okay, this is my other onigiri ball thing. But it seems like the wrapper for some of these products is like they keep the seaweed separate, I guess, in case you don't want to eat the seaweed. You can just kind of open it and look inside, peel it out and eat it. kind of weird, kind of neat. Yeah, just something I hadn't noticed before. Okay, just thought I'd do a quick video of the apartment that I'm renting. As you can see, it comes with a Victoria's Secret pink umbrella. Will not be using that. The shoes here, the slippers were already here. I haven't used them, I just walk around in socks. So you come inside, there's a mirror right there. Kind of small, but you know, it gets the job done. There's the bathroom. Toilet. Kind of weird thing about these toilets is they kind of curve down, so your poop drops all the way at the bottom. This doesn't have any kind of fancy water or spray thing, so it's just regular. You won't get molested when you use this. There's the sink. You notice this shower head is just the nozzle. There's no like overhead like you find in an American shower. So you just kind of move this handle for like the sink, and then for the shower. That's small, that's big. So I guess if you want the water a little bit, you put it that way. You put it big, you put it the other way. But it seems extremely loud, regardless of which way you put it. Here's the sink. I guess that's a water heater. There's like a pot heating device there. You know, cups, whatever stuff. Nothing special there. Oh, something weird that I found here. Maybe it's just my perverted mind, but if you sit down on the toilet, you can see yourself here. I'm not really sure what that's for, but okay. Here's the bed. It's broken. There's like a little note here that says broken. I was kind of like, what's that about? Then I realized, it's missing the middle, but no big deal. I got this place for cheap, like $400 for a whole week, which would be about the hostel price. Here's Japanese money. I think it's like $100 or something here. Yeah, like 200 maybe. That's the 50 yen or 500 yen or 5,000. Yeah, I'll get it right. Yeah, 5,000 yen bill. I think it's like a watermark. That was kind of funny seeing this dude right here, because I saw some other video with some guy talking about Japan, and he was making fun of this guy's hair. It's kind of weird to see that myself. Let's see. This comes with basic stuff, Wi-Fi and all that good stuff. Got the pocket Wi-Fi for free, so that was a bit of a deal. Not my suitcase. Fridge, small fridge. It came with stuff already in it. She said I can eat or drink anything. I'm not really in one for alcohol, but I'll probably try one of those Arashi things, because I think that's like a famous brand here. My luggage, not my guitar, but I'll pretend it's mine if any ladies come over. So, this is the outside. And nothing fancy about this neighborhood, but it's alright. There's the street, which I'll exit that way, then head to the subway station, which is about 5 minutes away. Try not to drop my phone. Oh, so yeah, just about fell there. So yeah, that's it. Just a small little apartment. Now, for day 2 here, I go and tackle Akihabara.